the Death Wish build 2.0. A general all-purpose build to take along while doing just about any Death Wish heist. The goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible while providing support to the team through various skills and assets. If you've seen the old Death Wish build, then this one is going to look pretty similar. We're going to be focusing on a dodge setup, mingled with shotgun skills, meds and inspire, drill skills, and some health regen. In Mastermind, we have Combat Medic, Painkillers, Combat Doctor, and Inspire Ace. Inspire is always a handy skill on Death Wish. People will be dying regardless of the setup they're using, and even after the nerf, it's still a pretty good skill. In some cases, I actually prefer this over the old Inspire. We also have Forced Friendship, Confident, Joker, and Hostage Taker Ace, as well as Partners Crime Basic. This is for our health regeneration, since we'll be using the Crook perk deck. An Enforcer, Underdog, Shotgun CQB, Shotgun Impact Ace, and Overkill Basic. This is for our handy dandy shotguns. Resilience, Die Hard Ace, Transporter, Bullseye, Shotgun Awe, and Iron Man Basic. This will help beef up our lightweight ballistic vest. Technician, Hardware Expert Basic, and Drill Sergeant Ace for drill skills. Ghost, Duck and Cover Ace, and Parkour and Second Wind Basic for mobility. We also have Steady Grip as well as Stable Shot for increased accuracy and handling of our weapons. Now, one little thing I wanted to talk about before we move on is that, curiously, I decided to go with armor skills, even though I have a dodge-centered setup. And while armor skills do end up helping out crook setups by beefing up their vest even more, I would still say that going Sneaky Bastard and getting the extra dodge is more helpful to your survivability. But I opted against it for a number of reasons that I'll go over later. But I just wanted to point out that if you wanted to go with extra dodge instead, that's a viable setup, and in some cases, a preferred setup to go with. Now for my perk deck, like I said, I will be using the Crook perk deck. For my weapons today, I'm going to be going with flexible weapons that can fulfill multiple roles if need be. For my primary, I have the AK-5 with the CQB barrel, Tactical Compensator, Carbon Sarah's Handguard, Lead Combo, L5 magazine, and the Caesar stock. For my secondary, I have the Judge with solely the Triple-Aught Buck. I opted to go with a modless Judge this time, more for aesthetics, because, well, modding this gun makes it look kind of horrendous, so I opted to go with that. Plus, the performance doesn't really change all that much, and it's a pretty looking gun. For my melee, I'm using the Electrical Brass Knuckles, Grenade Throwable, Dr. Bag Deployable, and Lightweight Ballistic Vest Armor. So, here we go, another Death Wish build for the new skills. It's honestly not much different from the old Death Wish build in terms of performance. I mean, I tried to basically make it the same as before, except this time I was able to pick up even more stuff now, and it's probably more akin to the Jack-of-all-trades setup since I've got a little bit of everything I want in it. Ultimately, the goal is to pick up enough skills to be useful as both a contributor to the team and still be combat effective. The latter not nearly as difficult as it once was, considering what kind of weapons we have these days, but that's besides the point. In the past, you had less options for what was considered Death Wish viable. Not really a problem anymore. Whether that's good or bad, it's really up to you. Anyway, where to start? I know, let's talk about Inspire. So, Inspire has basically been a staple for higher difficulty play in this game. It really didn't matter what kind of skills you ran, what weapons, what perk deck, it's almost guaranteed that someone will be running the skill in almost any lobby you play. Well, maybe for me, I don't know about pubbing, but maybe you don't see it that often. Regardless, it's undeniable that the skill is very handy to have when running on Death Wish. Of all the skills that people bitch and whine about being overpowered, Inspire is probably by far the most overpowered one, hands down. So it's not really surprising to see it nerfed to what it is now. Having a cooldown on your Inspire shot really changes it for Inspire users. You can't spam it in quick succession, meaning if multiple people die, you really have to prioritize which person to help first. And in some cases, which person is easiest to pick up if you need to manually do it. Like if another Inspire person dies, you generally always pick them up back first, barring some extreme circumstances. Now you consider saving your range shout instead of using it without any repercussions, forcing you to do things like clear the area before you get your teammate up or something, making sure it's safe for you to pick them up and to run away. In a sense, I do enjoy that it forces you to play a little smarter, which is something that we should have been doing anyway, but I guess it is pretty funny to see a guy that, you know, has like no ammo get kicked down over and over by the same cloaker while you keep reviving him. But alas, those days are gone. At least now Inspire feels a lot more rewarding to use. And speaking of which, now the 100% chance to inspire someone with the ranged out is pretty fucking glorious. No more bullshit I go through hell to save someone only to try inspiring them with like 3 shouts and having every one of them fail. Now, if you get in range, you know you'll get them up. And that guarantee completely makes up for the cooldown, at least in my opinion. The uncertainty had the potential to lead to some pretty unfortunate streaks of failed shouts, which could ultimately cost your teammate a revive. Still, the biggest drawback is now you can't inspire multiple people simultaneously, or inspire, you know, that same person that goes down consecutively within a short amount of time. Like, I want to say that you shouldn't be put in those situations to begin with, because that would mean that your team is having a hard time regardless, but sometimes it can't be helped with the type of game this is. Anyway, point is, despite the changes, Inspire is still pretty much a staple for higher difficulties, especially Deathwish, and having it on this build is pretty much a must, same as with the old Deathwish build. The other big similarity between this new build and the old one is picking up shotgun skills, at least enough to make the judge a powerhouse on Deathwish. Shotguns are probably one of the most powerful weapon types in the game, not really because of actual power, but because of their sheer effectiveness when dealing with just about every enemy type. Chaining one-shot kills with the right shotgun and the right skills makes for a much easier time. Of course, if you know me at all, the judge is my shotgun of choice. Always has been, always, well, probably will be. With Shotgun Impact, Shotgun CQB, and Overkill, I can chain kills very easily, to the point where it even one-shots cloakers and tasers. Has a really high rate of fire, meaning no downtime when going from target to target, and in a pinch, when you need to spam, because you got a cloaker running at you or a dozer around the corner, you can still deal with them, where other shotguns would have failed. It's also got an extremely fast reload, getting 5 shots back easy in very little time. With the judge, you really can't go wrong. So, that pretty much covers the shotgun skills I picked up. What else? Oh, yeah, that's right. I always love me some good old drill skills. Pretty self-explanatory, drills are everywhere in the game. Having drill skills in an all-purpose build is pretty much a must, unless you play with friends all the time and someone else has drill skills. Less drill time means more me time, which means more fap time. So let's talk a bit about the survivability. It's been made pretty clear that I've taken a liking to Hostage Taker for health regeneration. It helps open up a lot of different options for your perk decks that you can use, and it's also inherently helpful in and of itself, since grabbing jokers gives you free bullet sponges to take aggro off you and your team. Since the conditions have been made easier to fulfill through the ability to have 2 Dominators and 2 Joker cops, it's not too difficult to have a steady stream of health regeneration. Now, here's the part that's a little bit more odd. All those armor skills I picked up in Enforcer. Normally, with the lightweight ballistic vest and crook, you would have 115 armor and 30 dodge. This includes the increased armor from Die Hard Ace, which gives 20 armor to all ballistic vest armors. Currently, I have 136.5 armor and 30 dodge. That's from investing the points into Iron Man Basic, and getting up to that, I've also acquired the skills Shock and Awe and Bullseye. So I've got a lot of skills for armor tankiness and regen. And while it is pretty handy to have, it doesn't seem to have a super large benefit to lower tier armor, since, you know, Iron Man's armor boost is percentage based. If I were to drop these armor skills and reallocate my points into Sneaky Bastard for dodge, I could have 115 armor and 40 dodge, potentially. I feel like that 10 extra dodge is way better than the marginal 20-ish extra armor that you're getting with the current setup. However, the problem with that setup is that it's severely limiting to the build. You have to use high concealment weapons, and you have to not only invest points into Sneaky Bastard for dodge, but also the points to increase concealment for your melee and vests. That is, unless you already have weapons made that don't really need that extra boost, but even so, that still severely limits your available arsenal. Shifting the points around to get the skills was also a little bit difficult. I needed to make more trade-offs than I really wanted. So, in the end, I opted to take the armor over dodge. Reason being is that I still get all the skills that I originally wanted, and more importantly, there's no restriction on the weapon setups that I can use now, since concealment is not a factor. Speaking of weapons, the AK-5 I'm using right now is just all around good. Since I've got my judge for close quarters and crowd clearing, I need my primary to take care of everything else, mainly snipers, and something that works decently when I'm out of ammo with the judge. Though that's not to say that the AK-5 doesn't have much merit. It's a very solid assault rifle. Through a combination of the mods I put on it, as well as the skills, steady grip, and stable shot, this bad boy is rocking 44 damage, 84 accuracy, and 92 stability. This is nothing really to scoff at. With the amount of ammo this gun has, it's incredibly flexible to use. With a decent reload speed compared to most assault rifles, it performs pretty well in close quarters, and with the handling it has, dealing with stuff long range isn't too bad either. All in all, this build is extremely solid. Good damage output with your weapons, plenty of helpful skills for your teammates like meds, inspire, drills, and some decent survivability. Starts off a little slow since you're reliant on dodge only until you start getting your jokers and such, but once you do, it's like the snowball effect. Pick up speed, you start gathering a small army of your own, and in turn, you get health regen back on top of your already high dodge, and as long as you continue the cycle of picking up more dominators and jokers on a consistent basis, you'll be just fine. Pretty much my go-to build when I can't predict what other people are using, or I need to use something that isn't totally goofy and I need to put on my A game.